What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to For Strategy Gaming. It is time to take a look at some StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be taking a look at a series between EG's IdrA and EG's DeMusliM. We are here on Metalopolis in this first game in the series. We can see IdrA spawning up here in the 12 o'clock position as our green Zerg player, and his teammate here, DeMusliM, spawning as the light blue Terran player over here in the 3 o'clock position. As we can see, they are of course close air distance, and it looks like IdrA moving straight to the 3 o'clock immediately with that first Overlord. We'll be scouting out DeMusliM very shortly. We expect him to go just within the field of vision, stopping right about here. That's going to let the Overlord catch the edge of that base. Now from there, he can actually attempt to pull back the Overlord and try to hide his spawn location, or if he feels like he's spotted, he can just continue to move on through. And there we go, actually. DeMusliM moving down with that SCV, scouting out the Overlord just in the nick of time, and this allows him to, precisely know exactly where IdrA is. Now he knows IdrA is in that 12 o'clock position, and as a result, being spotted, IdrA, instead of trying to hide the fact that that Overlord had scouted out DeMusliM, will just keep on moving forward because he himself was scouted. So yeah, we should be seeing him scout out the front here, basically trying to take a look at what production buildings are going where, and actually look at that, a little bit sneaky over here for DeMusliM, trying to hide that Rax over there, and this is going to force IdrA to try to find where it is. Now, he doesn't know. I mean, maybe there's a proxy Rax sitting right here, or right over here. There's all sorts of things that DeMusliM could be doing, and what this does is it forces IdrA to try to find out, essentially, what exactly is going on. We can see IdrA has come out with a 14 hatch right there. We'll be seeing the pool come out immediately after that, and actually sending the Overlord up there to see what's going on in terms of refineries. And as we can see, DeMusliM does have that one refinery coming on through. So at the very least right now, IdrA knows, okay, well, at least this is looking somewhat standard. I just haven't found the racks yet. So now it's just a matter of finding the racks, and we can see that is right over here right now. And what will DeMusliM be opening up with? Is he going to open up, say, like Tech Lab into expand? No, it looks like he will be opening up with some marine pressure coming out over here with this Rax as well. So there we go, that first Marine coming out with that Rax on the low ground, giving him a little bit less of a distance to cover there, as opposed to having to move through that front and wrap all the way around. That Marine can start heading straight on over to IdrA's base, and there we go. IdrA grabbing the tower, has spotted the Rax there, and will actually be moving down with the drone, but deciding, you know what, there's a Marine about to pop, so I should head on back home. We do have another drone coming down right now as well for IdrA, so we've got two drones on the defensive, SCV moving forward with that first Marine, and we've got a second Marine in production. Also, we do have a factory making its way through at the front there for DeMusliM. Alright, so let's see. I do expect some bunker pressure, but we do have IdrA pulling down with so many workers, and this may just force DeMusliM to pull all the way back, and there we go, as expected. DeMusliM has pulled back, waiting till he gets another Marine. He may still continue up this pressure, though, just with these two Marines in that SCV, and it looks like he's, in fact, doing just that. We've got the Rax going to the front. We'll be dropping a reactor on that as well, and here it comes right now. Bunker getting placed down. Two Marines trying to tuck themselves in the corner, prevent those drones or Zerglings from being able to get up to them too close too quickly, and we do have a total of 6 Lings right now on the board. Also, 2 Queens coming through. 6 Lings trying to move down, trying to get us around right now on those Marines. A little bit of micro from DeMusliM, allowing him to keep those Marines alive a little bit longer, but IdrA does have enough Zerglings to be able to take out those Marines, and 4 Zerglings left, keeping that one barely alive right there with a total of 2 HP and slowly regenerating. DeMusliM forced to stop production of that bunker, will be forced to cancel that and trying to make his way back home with that SCV. IdrA now just getting up that extractor, will be saturating that right away, and again, we should be seeing the cancel of that bunker for DeMusliM. Now, what is the follow-up? It looks like that reactor that was built on the Rax will be hot swapping with that factory, immediately opening up with those double Hellions, and it appears like DeMusliM is in fact going to be expanding, and there we go, actually delaying that second Hellion to come out with that expansion a little bit quicker. And are we going to see that second Hellion follow up through here, or is he just going to be switching back? There it is. So some additional Hellions are coming on through. We do have a Zergling moving on up to scout, and very nice. DeMusliM just barely getting that depot up in time. First Hellion is out. That should prevent those Zerglings from being able to kill off this SCV and allow him to continue the production right there. Actually pulling back with that SCV, just a little bit of micro moving all the way around. And that SCV that is injured looks like he'll be grabbing Mineral Patch, heading back up home, and let this SCV that has got a little more HP continue to build. And look at this, I completely missed it, but DeMusliM coming out with a quick third as well. And this is something that IdrA is certainly not aware of. You can see he hasn't even bothered to check that. That is pretty nuts right now. Very ballsy indeed. DeMusliM could really be in a tough position if IdrA pushes out. But you know, the real big thing to keep in mind, I mean, these guys are teammates. They're both on Team EG, and he must know, well, he obviously knows, as we know, IdrA is a very macro-style player, so unless he happens to scout out that expansion, unless IdrA makes a concentrated effort to look to scout that expansion, he may not go for that proper timing push to actually take out DeMusliM, because DeMusliM will be very vulnerable in dropping those extra 400 resources on that additional expansion. So there you go. We've got a quick third for DeMusliM, and he will be attempting to contain right now with these Hellions early on. IdrA is moving in with that Sacrificial Overlord sometime very soon. We do have a second and third extractor just popping right now for IdrA, and finally starting up that layer tech. So IdrA just macroing up right now. He's got a pretty strong economy, but I'm a little bit concerned because he, again, has not scouted out this third at all, and if DeMusliM is given enough time, he will start to saturate both those bases and really start to take advantage of that strong economy, and he'll have a huge advantage over IdrA, so IdrA really needs to spot that soon. Fingers crossed that he bothers to check that. We can see that contain right now with DeMusliM. He hasn't really done much damage at all with these Hellions. It's all been about keeping IdrA in his base and preventing him from scouting. There's that Sacrificial Overlord. He did spot all those production buildings. He's checking for that additional refinery. We can see that is just building right now. I wonder if that's tipped him off to check and possibly try to find what's going on at that third. He is, again, just macroing up still. He's continuing to drone very hard. You can see 6 more drones coming out, even though he's fairly well saturated. A couple queens trying to move forward with those Zerglings, but still not enough to break past these 5 Hellions and try to bust through that contain. IdrA, so not able to do that. I'm really surprised he hasn't tried to kind of sneak a Zergling up that backside, because those Hellions very well wouldn't be able to spot that, at least given their current position. Sending 1 or 2 Zerglings out, again, something he certainly needs to do is get some scouting information, and all he really saw were those production buildings. He still has no idea about that expansion. Right now, he can't even expand. This is a very nice contain for DeMusliM. This is forcing IdrA to make a lot more Zerglings than he would otherwise just to break this contain, because even right now, he doesn't have enough. Trying to move forward with that Spine Crawler, as well as those Zerglings, forcing those Hellions back up here with the rerouting of that Spine Crawler. And actually, no, there we go. Still beautiful play there by DeMusliM. He stopped those Zerglings from pushing out for that scout. That is unbelievable. And there we go, finally pulling on forward and trying to get us around, getting there on the backside of those Hellions, and DeMusliM was not paying attention and not prepared for that. Lost bunch of those Hellions down to just these 3. IdrA now has up his expansion, but again, he's got still no idea about this third up here. And look at the economic advantage going to DeMusliM right now. Mineral-wise, he's got a huge lead. You may say, hey, he's pretty low on Vespian. Well, he's not going Vespian heavy. As we can see, Marine Tank is the build, and you sit mineral heavy when you go with that type of unit composition, most certainly. And here comes a timing push right now for DeMusliM. We're 10 minutes in the game. He's got a few Hellions there still, moving forward with the tanks as well as his Marines. Going to be taking down the little statue there and making a slow push towards IdrA's expansion. IdrA still doesn't know. Let's take a look right here. I'm pretty positive. Yes, he's got no idea about this third. I'm so wholly concerned right now. IdrA is really going to have to do a bunch of damage to get himself in this game, because he is certainly in a vulnerable position right now, already behind in terms of resources lost. He's doing what he can to prepare to break this contain. He's going to be using those Speedlings and Banelings to try and mop up those Marines and use those Mutas that are about to pop as well to try to take out those tanks. And if he can break this contain right here from DeMusliM, then he can push out with a counterattack with those Mutas and hopefully do some damage. But look at that, perfectly timed turrets there just as the Mutas are popping up in mass. So he's going to be pretty well defended against that counterattack with those Mutalists. And here comes that slow push for DeMusliM, working his way to the front right now. We do have those Mutas preparing to hit from the backside. Also, right there in that position, they will be taking any reinforcements that attempt to come for DeMusliM if DeMusliM tries to reinforce this contain here, and continuing to push forward right now. Marines feeling pretty bold, sneaking forward. The tanks shelling out those Spine Crawlers. That's a big danger to those Marines. And here we go, Speedlings, Banes trying to mop up. The Mutas coming up from the backside as well. Banelings doing a good job of surrounding those Marines, and the Speedlings preventing those Marines from running away. Allow those Banelings to catch up, and there we go. IdrA breaking the contain. Now is time for that counterattack, and how is he going to do? DeMusliM looking very vulnerable at that third right there. Still something that IdrA hasn't spotted, but does DeMusliM have enough to defend himself? He's got some nicely placed turrets, and that's going to help, and it actually should do a pretty decent job against that small amount of Mutas. And there we go, Speedlings moving forward, and right into, and watch them. They are about to do just massive amounts of damage. Speedlings up in the third expansion, and DeMusliM losing almost everything here. And he just can't respond to it. He lost so many SCVs right there. Let's take a look. Total of 18 workers killed so far for IdrA. So all of a sudden, all of that work for nothing. Now, DeMusliM was able to bank up some resources and get a strong army as a result. You can see right now he doesn't have the army lead, but still sitting at about on par right now, given the unit composition that he has. DeMusliM is actually in a strong position at this exact moment, but IdrA, in taking out all those SCVs, is going to work to saturate his third. We can also see he's got his fourth coming up as well, and that's really putting him in a very strong position. I'm a little bit perplexed as to why DeMusliM didn't wait, not get that orbital, and just try to get a planetary there, especially given that he would have thin defenses, seeing as he went so fast for that expansion. I know he wanted the orbital to get that extra muling action, but as you can see, it's so vulnerable, he just couldn't defend against it. I'm assuming he didn't plan on having his contain broke either, though, so there you go. Lots of mutas right now for IdrA, moving up, first taking out a turret, then we'll be dropping the reactor here on the starport, preventing that double production of those medevacs. We got some stim marines. We'll be moving forward to push back those mutas. We've got a big group over here of zerglings, and they're probably keeping constant tabs on what's going on at this third. We can see right that one's spotting over there. Gonna have actually a small force moving on up just to see what's going on in terms of defense, running into that siege tank as well as those marines. At least that gives IdrA a good idea of what to expect over there. Lots of mutas still in production right now and just gathering up. He's sitting on a total of 20 right now, and he's got one more about to pop, working his way out to infestation pit as well, so we'll be getting those infestors. And there we go, IdrA's fourth, now popping. He is working his way to try to get some decent creep spread over here. A nice scouting over here. This is going to let him see any drops that attempt to move on to the fourth and eventual fifth of IdrA. So really like that overlord placement. We got those mutas moving in, and he's got enough right now. Actually dropping in a couple speedlings as well with that. Very nice play there by IdrA, using those speedlings to try to prevent those marines from sniping down those mutas, and that allowed those mutas to do quite a bit of damage there. So very nice kind of little sneak attack there by IdrA. We do have DeMusliM attempting to move up into that high yield. He will be running into that same issue though, because he's a little bit vulnerable there. He's going to want to move the bulk of his forces to be able to defend that high yield properly, but at the same time then his natural's a little bit vulnerable as well. We've got the transfer of SCVs going down, hopefully a few units. There we go, looks like a few marines and tanks will also be moving to that high yield, and look at those mutas spotting that expansion with that tower control, allowed him to move forward and get a few shots off. We've got some stim marines moving forward, but it doesn't look like it's enough. Speedlings with those mutas. Here comes some banelings as well, and IdrA having no problem mopping up those forces, sacrificing a few zerglings to delay those marines as well. And again, IdrA with the map control right now and preventing DeMusliM from expanding. He's in a very strong position. We've got a lot of marines. Here's a little bit of splitting right now, trying to prevent that splash damage. Couple of banelings pop, but it doesn't look like it took out the bulk of the forces. So right now, DeMusliM has enough marines to push back those mutas, but look at that. DeMusliM losing that command center that he attempted to move into that high yield. Really set him back quite a bit. If we take a look right now at the resources lost, DeMusliM is quite a bit behind. It's really going to come down to this push, since given his current position and the fact that he's still just on those two bases and IdrA is on 4, DeMusliM has to do a lot of damage right now. Speedlings and banelings getting those tanks unsieged right there, moving up on those marines, and it looks like he may have enough right now. Thor's trying to do what they can against the mutas, but not enough. Banelings moving forward, pushing back those marines, allowing this small amount of mutas to take out that small force of marines right there. And still, DeMusliM in the game right now. Those mutas are a little bit afraid of even the small amount of marines here, but he lost so very much there. And at the same time, a drop here from IdrA in the main base, using that overlord dropping to his advantage, dropping zerglings in the main base and forcing DeMusliM to push back for some defenses. And that, of course, weakens up his offensive push and forcing DeMusliM back to the main base here. So DeMusliM not able to be on the offensive. He's still just being constantly pushed back to his main base, and here we go. Mutas still in the main, will be going for that starport, causing it to burn, and it looks like it gets dropped, losing the starport, and that's his only one. So no more medevac production right now until he rebuilds that starport. He is stuck with just barracks and factory units, and that's gonna be it. He does have a few medevacs in play, and it looks like here we go, attempting another push. And again, this is something that he absolutely needs to do damage, stemming up those marines. Speedlings and banelings pushing forward. Some nice marine micro trying to stay away from that baneling splash. Those mutas able to take out the few amount of tanks, and these marines for DeMusliM continuing to push, trying to do what he can. He has to do damage. He's already so far behind right now. I'm really not sure that he stands much of a chance. We've got some more banelings coming forward. Greater Spire working its way on out. 48 zerglings as well for IdrA. IdrA's looking to be in a strong spot. There go the banelings mopping up those marines, allowing those mutas to move in. So few marines right now, and the mutas are going to be enough right now to mop up the rest of these, even with reinforcements and a couple of speedlings moving down. And there it is, DeMusliM forced to call the GG. DeMusliM opened up this game, pushing out with an SCV and 2 Marines, attempting to apply some pressure. However, IdrA managed to produce just 6 Zerglings, and that was exactly enough to stop this push from doing any damage. DeMusliM then followed up with 5 Hellions, allowing him to contain IdrA, stop him from scouting early on with his Zerglings, and prevent him from seeing that quick third that DeMusliM went for. With the strong economy from a saturated natural and third, we saw a quick Marine tank contain from DeMusliM. At the same time, IdrA also attempted to move into his third. IdrA then mounted up just enough Speedlings, Banelings, and Mutas to break this contain from DeMusliM and force him back to his natural expansion. DeMusliM, losing all of his units that were in that contain out front of IdrA's base, was left defenseless at his third, and a quick counterattack from IdrA allowed him to do a lot of damage. IdrA then moved out, dropping with some Speedlings inside of the main of DeMusliM, also pushing out with those Mutas. This allowed him to get just enough harass down to contain DeMusliM to those 2 bases and prevent him from expanding. IdrA moved into his 4th expansion and consistently was able to stop DeMusliM from getting up an Expo, containing him to just those 2 bases, and this is really what led to DeMuslim's downfall. He just did not have the economy to be able to push out against IdrA's constant harass at his Expos. DeMusliM, realizing he was so far behind, attempted to push to do some damage. However, he was quickly overwhelmed by IdrA's forces and strong economy. With a strong economic lead, IdrA just kept up the harass and eventually was able to force the GG. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this. This was the first game here between DeMusliM and IdrA. We'll be moving on to game number 2 in just one moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.